Good evening and welcome to the planning board meeting of Tuesday, March 21st. These meetings are recorded.
He always says that.
There are no public hearings. I'll take a motion on the minutes from the previous.
I'll move.
Motion by John, seconded by Joe. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing not. All in favor, opposed? Unanimous. I don't have any 81Ps.
I think you have one in the audience. Andrew's survey.
Oh, we do?
Sir?
Get the gum out of your mouth.
While I wait for that, number 3 is the continued site plan review for 111 Cedar Street. I have from the attorney a request for extension
Oh, okay.
from today's date to 4/18/17. Any discussion on the request for extension?
Nope.
I have a motion by Joe, seconded by Babe. Any further discussion? Hearing not. All in favor, opposed, unanimous.
Okay.
Thanks. And you may want to announce that our meeting that was originally going to be held,
I'll get to that, Larry.
or if it's canceled.
I'm waiting on you, sir, so. Do you have the form, sir?
Yes.
And the check, sir?
I do not have the check. I can bring the check in tomorrow. There was a bit of a it was a misunderstanding on my part. This is a revision of the previous plan, and I thought we could bring in the plan, but I will bring it.
Okay, that's fine, just,
I'll hold on to it.
yeah, Larry's not gonna sign it till the paperwork is in order.
That's fine.
Actually, you sign that. You wanna sign that?
You can share it.
Yeah, I'll initially when I
Yeah,
get the.
'cause
Yes. Where is this?
Richard Street off of one.
Go ahead, sir.
West Street.
So basically, my name is Byron Andrews, I'm with Andrews Survey Engineering, representing Lisa Ferrucci. Basically what this is a revision to a plan which you saw recently. The change is previously, all this property here is in the name of Mrs. Ferrucci, and we had separated out one lot. However, and this was probably a misunderstanding on our part, what she intended to do was only take this piece, which is a separate parcel in her deed, and divide it into 2 lots, and not combine this one with the remainder of her land. So we've revised that plan to show it in that way.
Was this granted through zoning, Larry?
No, it's a conforming lot. Everything's conforming. It was just a lot,
For
overly
which is
large
this?
lot.
Chicken
It's
farm?
endorsable as submitted once we get all the paperwork.
The guy was auxiliary cop there.
Questions from the board?
Just need to leave me-
Pleasure from the board, pleasure of the board.
Make a motion, we approve the 81P and have Larry sign the plan once the check comes in.
A second.
Motion by Joe, seconded by John. Any further discussion? Hearing not. All approved.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
So when you bring this back in, I'll sign it. And we can-
We have a amended site plan review for 285 West Street. The applicant is requesting amended site plan approval to allow for the addition of a storage building on the subject property. Specifically, the proposal is to install a 20 by 64 metal storage building on the westerly concrete pad of the 3 existing pads on the site.
Thanks,
The
Elizabeth.
easterly pad is currently occupied by a storage building. The center pad remains open. The original 10-200 site plan approval for the full build-out, the site lapsed a number of years ago, as only the one building was constructed. All applicable zoning requirements appear to be met. Therefore, Larry is recommending approval.
That was quite an old site plan, year 200.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm reading what you did. I didn't know what year it was, so I don't know if you meant 2000.
Apparently, I didn't.
Doesn't
either.
say,
You meant 2000, 2001, 2009, I have no idea.
brought the 0.
It's up to you, to make the year, because I can't tell you if it was 2000, 2008, I don't know. Anyhow, The town engineer writes, the site consists of 4.06 acres parcel of land zoned highway commercial, CC, accesses map 38, lot 10. Sir,
You're gonna talk, well,
we're trying to continue if you don't mind, thank you. The site is developed and there are no site improvements proposed other than constructing the wall of a metal storage building on an existing concrete slab. Following a review of the submittal, I recommend the approval of the site plan as submitted. The Council on Disability has no comments. The Fire Department has no comments or changes. Milford Water Company sees no conflicts or issues. Please, all yours.
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Magnini from Gary and Hellman, here representing Light Tower, who is the property owner. And they are looking to construct a metal building on the front of the 3 pads that are existing. The furthest back pad has a brick and block building on it right now. And if you've driven by, they store a lot of wire and, I don't know, materials on those pads. And they just want that building to be able to enclose it so that it's out of the weather. It's going directly on the pad, which was constructed, this is the as-built that was done for conservation, so this is where the pad is, and it's where it was supposed to be, according to the site plan you guys approved back in the year 200.
There was only a few of us on the board back then.
Again, I'm not positive what year. so.
I can tell you,
Is it 2000?
It was 2000, yes.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
No, I don't have a problem.
Questions from the board?
Yeah, the only question I got, Larry had it down, and I'm sure from the information that was given to him that the existing building is a storage building. And,
The existing brick building?
yes, well, it's not a brick building, it's a precast building that was set there.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
But there is equipment in there, electronic equipment and everything, so it's not a storage, so the taxes,
I don't think it's much relevant. I don't know how they're getting taxed.
yeah, well, I'm just saying, if they're getting taxed as a storage building, they're not, it's not right, so that's the only,
We're not the Board of Assessors. I
understand.
can't get
They
to
might
that
be
one.
listening, but
maybe.
Somebody will find out for
Pleasure of the
sure.
board.
I move we approve the plan.
Motion by John,
I'll second that.
seconded by Lena to approve the amended site plan. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, opposed, unanimous. We have a amended site plan review for 350 East Main Street. The applicant is requesting amended site plan approval to allow for the change of use on the subject property. The subject property is a 6.78 acre commercial plaza at the corner of East Main and Fortune Boulevard. Specifically, the proposal is to convert the previous 250-seat restaurant located on building number 3 into an indoor
Busy night there,
entertainment center
Elizabeth.
with golf simulators, a golf pro shop, and an 85-seat bar lounge, area with billiard tables. No additions are being proposed to the building, although 2 additional handicap parking spots and ramps are being added to the front of Building 3. All applicable zoning requirements appear to be met. Therefore, Larry is recommending approval.
You know the
From
place
the
to go?
town engineer. Site consists of 6.78 acres, parcel of land located in 2 zones, highway and neighborhood industrial C, IC, and highway industrial B, IB. Assessors map 32, block 98, lot 23. Following a review of the revised amended site plan, the town engineer recommends approval. The fire department requests no changes. The Commission on Disability, regarding Building 3 with 92 spaces required, 4 accessible spaces are also required. One of these spaces must be van accessible. Plan only shows 2 accessible spaces. In addition, the entire accessible route must comply with 521 CMR. Do not have any indication that it does not in its current configuration. However, there have been numerous occasions where the existing route does not meet the current regulations that I have come across over the years. The Highway Department finds it to be satisfactory.
That was John Erickson, not,
Yeah, that was, yeah, that was.
My apologies.
Disabilities was
I don't,
Building inspector.
I don't recall that we typically get them from. All right.
It's actually a good comment, we probably should talk about it
All right,
afterwards.
no, we will.
It's-
Commission has no comment. The water company has no conflicts or issues. All yours.
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Minini from Gary Aaron Howland, here on behalf of Mr. Sardinia. This is,
Vincent
as
Felice.
you guys might remember, the old Imperial Buffet building. Changing use, in the second page of the plans that I passed out shows the full site plan to change it to, as previously mentioned, golf simulation areas, a small retail area, a lounge area with some billiard tables. So we did parking calculations based on those uses, and those are the spaces. There are a sufficient number of spaces to support that business. As you can imagine, the restaurant required more parking than this does. The only thing that we've been asked to do was to add in 2 more handicap parking spaces. In order to create an accessible route, we do need to add a concrete ramp in the front of the sidewalk. If there's any other questions, happy to answer.
Thank you. Yes, Larry.
John's comments about handicap accessible routes were made based on a prior submitted version, so what you see in front of you was
Is
precipitated.
it safe to assume that his concerns have been addressed?
They are addressed, yes, by the adding of.
It sounded like you did address it, but I just wanted for clarity. It's safe to state
I did not clearly
that
state
plan,
yes.
that plan has addressed his concerns. Okay.
Correct.
Questions from the board?
I don't have
None? Pleasure of the board.
Motion, we approve the amended site plan.
Motion made by Joe to amend to approve the amended site plan. Do I have a second? Second from Lena. Any further discussion here or not? All in favor, opposed, unanimous. Thank you.
Joe just signed that.
That's an interesting thing, huh?
yeah.
Board of Selectmen
What the
referral
locker room is for.
discontinuance of a portion of Park Terrace.
What are the lockers for? Oh,
This memo is to inform you that the Board of Selectmen at last night's meeting voted to include an article on the May town meeting warrant to discontinue a portion of Park Terrace as indicated on the attached plan. Thank you. Larry?
Yeah, the packet includes all the pertinent information. The simple version is that there's a small sliver of Park Terrace that needs to be discontinued because over the years, the building on the corner of Main and Park Terrace that was originally built on the property line had been, through years of maintenance and refurbishing, gotten a little fatter, so it's 3 or 4 inches into the right-of-way currently. And the new owner wishes to not only expand the building to the back, but he wants to go straight up with that segment of it. The simplest way to fix the problem is to simply discontinue all 43 square feet of that sliver of Park Terrace, which is some 88 feet long and at the widest 6 inches. So because of the way this was done, typically we would be sending it back, but I think at this stage of the game, I would send a memo that the board reviewed it, and I assume will approve it and recommend that they put it on the warrant, which obviously they've already done. So we would use this opportunity to go back and kind of get the process straightened out again, and hopefully include a favorable recommendation once we get to town meeting.
Questions from the board? Pleasure of the board.
I don't know what you're doing.
I'm sorry.
I'm just talking to myself.
Okay.
We need a recommendation.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I make a motion that we give a favorable recommendation.
Motion by Babe for favorable,
Second.
seconded by Joe. Any further discussion here or not?
My memo will remind them they need to hold a public hearing.
They will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where is Park Terrace?
All in favor? Opposed, unanimous.
National thing. Police
Oh,
station.
that's right.
Larry, you have 7A, B, and C, so I'm gonna let you run with it.
All right, 7A was a memo from the selectmen remanding the marijuana establishment amendment that we'd proposed. There was a little misunderstanding or miscommunication in terms of what we were seeking, and as I had emailed you a follow-up memo or two, I think the board misunderstood, and what we were hoping to get were comments and suggestions. Instead, at least at the meeting that this refers to, they all seem to be favorable and in agreement that we should do something, get something on the books as a zoning amendment. What has become clear is that not only is at least one of the current selectmen, but all of the candidates for selectmen are opposed to having retail sales of marijuana in the CA zone downtown. So my thought was that while we've got it remanded, which is fine, procedurally, I guess, even though it's a little out of sequence, we can go ahead and, based on this, we can go ahead and set the public hearing.
Yes.
But my suggestion would be, before we do that, that we look at the text of the thing in terms of whether or not you want to do that in the CA zone downtown, since it's pretty clear that at least many people didn't really understand what this was, and I watched the meeting on YouTube, the rerun of the selectmen's meeting. While they were favorable to the concept, it seemed clear that they didn't understand the details, and that this, the way it's written, would allow retail sales of marijuana in the CA zone by special permit from the planning board. My suggestion would be that you put a 0 there, or a letter O there, which would prohibit that, which would
So
be
we made it
less
back to the
contentious.
commercial industrial.
Well, you're in the, yeah,
Similar.
the rest of the commercial zones
Yep.
and the industrial zones, but that would probably stand a better chance of getting
Right.
support at town meeting, but
Right.
that's just me.
Feeling from the board?
I still go with the people voted for it. Whether the 3 selectmen think that's what they voted for or not, doesn't really matter to me. I believe the people voted for it. I think it should stay the way it is. But
All right.
I'm certainly willing to listen to what town meeting says.
Exactly.
But to me, I think it should go the way it is, because that's what I think I saw the vote is. I'm not for this at all, to be totally honest, but saying that, I do believe that, you know, this is one of the purest forms we've ever seen. People voted for the thing. It's my feeling that people expected it to be there, and they should have the right to say
Well,
yea or nay.
I think people expected or anticipated the ability to perhaps purchase it in the open market, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever really processed in their mind where they'd be able to purchase it, whether it be downtown or more of a commercial setting. I don't know if anyone really processed that, and I don't think the law ever really spoke to
No,
where
you're right.
where it was going to go. So with that said, I think that successfully speaking historically, we do better when the selectmen
Yeah.
endorse it rather than oppose it. So with that said, I'm more amenable going back to
Town meeting.
taking the downtown area
Off.
off, is what I'd be thinking. That's just me. I'm just going down the table, let people give their views. No,
Well,
sir, no.
The reason I brought it up tonight is because in the other schedule of things that's happening kind of behind the scenes, the production of the warrant mechanically, and the timing of when it actually gets printed and things, you know, we still have time, if the board wants any changes in the text, that we could do that. So that's why I wanted to make sure to bring it up now. Whatever you decide to do is fine. I just wanted to make you guys aware of that.
Sure.
Just to add to that, you know, I've spoken to a number of people about it. People have asked me what our plans were, and, you know, I said, we're working on it. And, you know, a number of them said that it should be up in the industrial area, you know, off of Birch Street. And they felt that the middle of town would be, you know, was not the right place for it. So that's just, you know, some Milford people who have expressed their opinion to me. So I just want to put that on notice here.
I guess the question is, and to Larry's point, is specifically when you're looking at the CB, or excuse me, the CA, my apologies, CA. Right now, it's allowed special permit, or this proposal would allow for special permit. The question really comes to light is whether that, we want to proceed with that or turn the CA into a zero, which would therefore prohibit
Prohibited.
the ability to sell in the downtown
Area.
area. That's really the question.
I know that.
So
Yeah.
again, Joe, my view is, just to recap, my view is to make it a zero. Joe's view, I think, is to let it stand the way it's
I
proposed.
understand that.
And again, I'm just trying to get a feel
Okay.
for what the board wants to do. So just so we understand what it is that we're, you know, I'm not trying to influence you one way or the other.
I
I'm
know
just
that.
simply so we understand what we're talking about.
And so what is the reason, we have to vote on this tonight, or?
Well,
I
no,
mean,
want to
make a
change.
decision to make
Well,
the
I
change?
think you have to, determine whether or not you want it to go forward.
Okay.
The
I just
way it's
wanted-
written, or do you want to?
Change it to a zero.
Change it to a zero. That-
Okay.
this is
Well,
the
all right.
last time you get a shot at it.
No, but this is
Hold
what the
public-
discussion's about.
Yeah, the public hearing,
You obviously-
even at the time of the public hearing, if you decide to change from whatever it was that was noticed for the hearing, and whatever gets printed in the warrant, at town meeting, you can present a motion, you can present whatever
change.
motion you decide
Right.
to present. So
Okay.
you can still change it then. I'm just, given the confusion and the way this whole thing has come about,
It is.
our intention had been to reach out to the selectmen and
Correct.
get their
Exactly.
comments and input, and that's not how it was presented to them.
I mean, saying that and seeing that, to me, well, and again, this is me, and I have a different opinion than that, I believe that's what people voted on. So, you know, barring a bunch of people coming in at a public hearing that we have to have,
Right.
I'm more comfortable that that's what I heard with 54% of the people that voted in Milford when they voted. That was the majority of the people, so that's where I'm coming from, as to why I'm allowing that, or why I think that should be the way that we said it. I mean, it's gonna be a legal substance. I don't know what the magical word is that you don't wanna sell a legal substance downtown. It's legal.
I understand what you're saying. It just, to me, it's, it being out of the way, I guess, I don't know. I just see it in the industrial area, closer to where the medical marijuana is, or up in that area.
No, I disagree with that. I think it could be sold in more areas than that.
Okay,
I'd rather sell it where somebody could see somebody buying it, especially a policeman, you know?
They can look, they can watch you buy it, but there's nothing they can do.
They can't do anything.
You know, they buy it.
The question is, again,
oh, I know, yeah,
I'm not trying to overly complicate this, and I'm not, as
All
I
right.
said, let me try to make this simple, just so that we can move this along. In specific to the CA, I am a zero. Joe is a special permit, which is also the same as the
A
way
zero.
it's currently written.
right.
John,
I'm a zero.
John's a zero. which means go back to not allowing it to be sold in the downtown.
Right.
Okay, Lena,
I'm a 0.
not to be sold. Babe,
I like Joe,
you're,
I don't like it, but I don't see anything wrong with it being sold there. But also, with the, if they license it the way, same way
I don't know how they're
they
gonna license
do, if they do a liquor licenses, there's no way they're gonna do it in the CA district anywhere. Anyway, but, I mean, it was no different than, when downtown, when, Tooheys had the package store, or the
That's a lot.
Comac Cafe was down there, or the Kettle and Cake, I mean,
it. Like I said,
it's,
the question whether or not is an attempt to try to gain the support of the selectmen.
yeah.
And the question that comes in front of us, and again, this is gonna get remanded to a town meeting.
It
excuse
is.
me, to a, public meeting anyhow, that's not the problem, that's not the question. The question is whether or not you want it to run the way it is, or do you wanna make some changes in terms of trying to gather the selectmen in to the fold, so to speak, to have a better opportunity of making this article successful. That's really what the question is. Now, with that, are you a 0 or an S? And I'm sorry, I'm just trying to move this
I'll
along.
go with the yes.
Okay, so,
You're the tiebreaker.
no, I already started by a 0, so I'm not the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
It's, in theory, the
So I
question
wanna
is,
take it out, so
It's
that's,
3-2.
it's 3-2. So the question is, based on the preponderance, I would suggest that we go in more amenable ways to what the selectmen trying to gather there and take it, the CA out and remand it back to a 0. Work?
Works for me.
Again, obviously, during the public hearing segment, you can, obviously,
Could
you're
go
free,
back in.
you're free to vote the way you want.
Put it back in.
All right, Larry?
All right.
7B.
Sorry to overcomplicate it, but.
No, I tried to make it
Just,
simple with the 0 and S.
What I wanted.
Had all gotten off track and they
like
weren't
to make
understanding. Okay,
I'd like to make our
What?
thoughts.
the next one would be the memo, assuming you make the motion, would be the memo I send the selectmen tomorrow, which is how this first one should have worked, on the residential animal amendment and the solar energy amendment, so that they can formally remand it and do it in proper sequence this time. So those are the two articles on the second page that we had drafted a month or two ago at least by now. So the first one would be to prohibit residential animals in the RA zone, which is the smallest lot size and in terms of physical development of the town, the most densely developed residential areas. That has the most tightly packed neighborhoods in terms of physically with large buildings on small lots, but it also has many of the multifamily dwellings there, not just two-family, but multifamily. So you have a higher, much higher density population-wise as well. So it just seemed unwise altogether to even, why even set the zoning board up for those kinds of special permits. So that's what the board had looked at last on that one. The second one was to allow for solar energy, and I'm not sure I have the proper version, which is another reason I wanted to be able to talk about it tonight. This would allow solar energy systems on town property, but there was a concern, and I don't remember the precise outcome, about whether or not to include ground-mounted systems. The verbiage here would not allow ground-mounted systems on town property, only roof-mounted in areas where whoever controlled the particular building decided they wanted to
Right.
risk their roof with a solar installation.
Yeah.
So, other than that.
That's where I think I was with it, with Dan, as far as I'm concerned, I think this meets what I thought we wanted to
Okay,
do.
so at least I got, that's one.
Well,
To the
I-
extent that it excludes the ground mounted, that was the question that I wasn't clear where we ended up.
I think the ground mounted is, again, the high school, we just spent $3 million or something on that roof. I don't wanna put nothing on there, I don't want them to put anything on there.
I don't think they're gonna, but
I mean, you got parking areas in the back that could take all kinds of,
we'll do the canopies.
Canopies work.
Yeah,
I just see,
but to me, I wouldn't open it up to everybody to do that. If they wanted to come in for a variance for that and they showed that location, I'd probably be amenable to it. But to open it up to all of them and, you know, to have it available, not that I'm saying they would, but, you know, at Brookside or Woodland, I don't believe that's correct. So I'd rather it not be in here and have it done by variance purpose than to let it happen. That's me.
I agree with that,
they
too.
can do it
I
by
agree with
variance,
that,
yeah,
yeah.
And further is,
I got no problem with that. Again, Brookside is out on the street, I wouldn't wanna see them
Right.
do that. The high school happens to be.
Yeah, no.
It's on me, yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it being there, but I'd rather not make the regulation based on that. So that's why I sort of said on the roof. I mean, then it's up to whoever owns the building as to
I don't
whether
have
they
a
really
problem with
wanna
the
do
roof.
that.
I don't have a problem with the roof.
well, they would.
I don't
all
like the
put it back to
freestanding.
Site plan review.
Yeah.
The roof mounted wouldn't, because the last section says that
We're
roof
allowing
mounted
it.
systems don't need a site plan.
Because again, there's no reason for them to come in front of here for a site
No,
plan
I
anyhow.
don't have
But
a
if,
problem with
it's,
that.
but if it were to say ground mounted, that would still be site plan review,
Absolutely.
Right.
yeah.
if that's any
And that's the way
consolation.
it should be.
But if
Yeah.
they have to
That's
come,
the way it
if
should
they
be.
come for a variance, they'd have to do a site
Yeah,
plan
site plan,
anyway,
yeah.
so.
So
We're
I just-
covered, we're covered either
That's the way
way.
I think it should be.
So,
I think it's fine the way it's written.
so that's, okay, so I
Yeah,
wasn't
send them
totally
both.
dreaming that, that was discussed.
Okay,
Hey, I thought it was the year 200 there for a while.
Yeah, I know.
good job. Is that
Okay,
it?
so, the last one, the selectmen remanded the petition articles. So we've got a petition article.
What's with this petition?
Allowing residential animals, and I think
Petition.
at some point, we had some input from the animal control officer, so there'll be some information by the time we get to the public hearing for you to consider on that. This is going totally the opposite direction of what we were doing with prohibiting him in the OR zone,
Galen?
and it would expand
Oh, okay.
uses, but at any rate, that's one that's been remanded, so it'll be included in
Yeah,
the other one is an amendment to the newly adopted sign bylaw that would allow for more temporary and portable signs than what we'd originally proposed or what was adopted. So those are the articles by petition. So I was planning on setting all of those for hearing.
okay.
For the first meeting in, it's hard to do this with Band-Aids on my thumb. So it'd be May 2nd would be the zoning public hearings. That'll give us that meeting, and then the following meeting on the 16th, in case you need to continue anything. This town meeting then is the 22nd of May. So, and that'll give us time to get it all noticed in the paper. I'll send out the notice to the paper on the 11th. What do you,
Fourth, Larry, right, that's the only other announcement I have.
yes, cancel next week,
I was just
next
waiting,
month on the 4th.
I was waiting for you to finish up.
Yeah, I'm
Are you
done.
finished? Okay.
I'm done, finally.
The other bit of information, there seems to be a scheduling conflict in terms of Tuesday, April 4th, whereas this room was given to,
Oh, the television?
assigned for the, assigned for the election results.
Right,
And unfortunately, upstairs, space is being utilized in terms of the ballots and so on and so forth, so we have no room to meet. So Tuesday, April 4th meeting has been canceled.
until,
No,
No,
we're not,
we're not-
this
okay.
is not by fault of ours.
no, I was wondering about that, because
Well,
they've
no,
done
they
it
just, for
before.
some odd reason, they overbooked.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
why.
We have it the third.
Initially, they asked us to perhaps make a change, whereas we should meet at 6:30, which we, Larry and I agreed to.
Right,
But then they changed that into, no, we need the room for the entire day, starting in the afternoon. So
Really?
essentially, they boxed us out, so
I think they should give us a room refund.
Well, neither here nor there. We will not be meeting
Okay,
Monday, April 4th. Excuse me, Tuesday, my apologies. Tuesday, April 4th.
see what the results are.
Just the new business if we're.
Sure, go ahead.
John makes a good point of this, and I'm just wondering if going forward, on site plans, if we should have an indication from the engineer that the design meets CMR 521 in terms of the accessible route, at least on the outside. That would be an appropriate check. I don't think it's necessarily our engineers nor the building inspectors to make sure that, and considering how fine some of that may be in terms of survey requirements and stuff. It may not be an improper thing to have the engineer, when they submit the plans, to certify that the route that they're showing, at least in design terms,
That's what we've been
meets
trying to get,
521 CMR.
right, that's what we've been trying to get shown on the plans, because depending upon how close it is or not, that could change other things, other aspects of the plan, and that's why.
I don't know how,
included them in the
yeah, I don't know
review.
how close John, or if John's gonna have to go through these, but they're now getting down to measuring every 18-inch increment to make sure that it meets the slope requirements.
Yeah.
That they don't take the bottom and the top and average it out, it's every 18 inches along the way.
Yep.
So it may, to me, it may behoove us to have that on there, so that at least we have something that says the design at least does,
Design
and then,
meets,
and
sure.
then go from there, so.
Yeah, and in this, the one site plan tonight doesn't have sufficient detail to show all the existing ramps that are already there. So when you add, in fact, we had the new spaces in a slightly different location, but when you look at the site, you see that it can't physically be placed there because of the other ramp and some building features that prevent it from being done. So that's why you saw the two new handicap spaces in that last plaza being shifted somewhat in the middle of that run of stalls. Originally, we had looked at putting it all the way to the west end in front of the doctor's office to kind of balance it out and give good access to both buildings. This still does, but at least you can physically build this, where the other one you couldn't. So, yeah,
Okay.
good point taken.
Do we need
Right.
to, is there anything that we need to change, or we just need to make sure that
No,
from
we'll
plans
just-
going forward, we'll just need to make sure that wording
Put it
on
on
there
the
says
form.
that the,
Yeah.
Right,
Just add it to the
yeah,
form.
we can do
Yep.
that. All right.
Anything else?
Move we adjourn.
Motion by John to adjourn, seconded by Lena. Any further discussion, there or not? All in favor, opposed, unanimous. Thank you and good night.